Welcome to the Mrs. R Relevant Daily Draft Podcast, sponsored by the Draft Professors. I am joined with two of the OG draft professors, Newt Weston, Owen McCullough. Owen, great to see you. We had a great show last night. Got another one tonight. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I think I'm a bit more lively today, so I'm feeling good.
Fantastic. Newt, we were just talking backstage. We're going to be going over a one-round mock, and people will also see the same mock on Cheesehead TV.
Yeah, if you want to hear my thoughts on these guys, as I'm kind of like rolling through it because we're going to be running 32-1, and Owen's going to be reacting to a lot of my picks. If you want to hear my picks and kind of my thought process for a lot of them, and especially there's that cat feeder, and especially how I got stuck on the Texans pick, and we can talk about that when we get there. I was just flabbergasted with where to go for them. You can check that out on Cheesehead TV. That was posted this morning, fresh to go, and that's where you're going to see all my thoughts on it.
You got stuck. There's a Texans fan. It's usually in our chat, right, Jim?
Brandon. Yeah, Brandon's usually here.
So that's usually like the.
I mean, like I hope Brandon's here because I'm kind of curious. I think he's going to hate it. I hated it. I didn't like the pick. And like we can kind of talk about it when we get there. I basically sniped myself on every possible avenue that the Texans could have gone with.
What do you mean?
Well,
I took all the players they needed.
They're picking 28. I think we're going to find out pretty quickly.
Yeah, we'll find out quick.
Yeah.
Who did you have going at 32 to Seattle?
This is where the argument will begin over who really has Derek Moore, edge rusher out of Michigan, as their guy. Because Derek Moore is a first-round pick for me at pick 32 to the Seattle Seahawks.
See, and we're getting started with a bang. Oh, and what's your reaction to Derek Moore going at 32?
I need you to sell me on that one because that's insane to me. I like Derek Moore, and I thought I was pretty high on him with the third one because I remember in the offseason or in the summer scouting cycle, people were like, especially like Sam Teets was like, he's a guy that I'm not super crazy about, especially because I was a big TJ guy dude or TJ guy in the summer, and Derek Moore was kind of looped in, and that was where I was like, I like him too, and then they were kind of so on him as well, and thought that he was kind of less likely to be a higher end player, like especially like first round pick caliber. So they were not that big on him, and I thought I was high on him. So what? Sell me on Derek Moore as a first round guy.
And I think that where it comes in is last year I was down on him as a run defender, and I think that even when we podcasted on him earlier in the cycle, I just wasn't sold. And seeing him later in the season, seeing him especially in the Senior Bowl and what he was able to do there. Now, granted, the offensive line play was not necessarily the greatest, but he stood out in a really good group of defensive edge rushers as one of the better overall players for the guys that were there. He had phenomenal production this year, double-digit sacks. He had a great true pass rush win rate of 36%, which anytime you're in the 30s for that is phenomenal. Like 40s is, that's David Bailey, and I'm already, or like Namde Tucker type numbers where they're just like dominating. 36% is really, really close to that. And then you take a look at how he comes in. He's built for the position, man. 255 pounds, 33 3/8 inch arms, 6'4". Everything that you want from there. And then I think that you then pair that with the IQ. I think you pair it with the athleticism that he has for the position. Now, he hasn't tested, so that's going to be something that I'm kind of keeping my eyes on. But I have seen it on tape where I think that he is able to be really effective. And I think the one thing that I just want to see more out of him is like an actual technical bag that he's able to reach into and be a dominant pass rusher that is going to win off of technique, counters, and more than just athleticism and power. So for me, he's built in the mold that I want to see. He's got the 3-down ability that I really, really like and I covet. And he was able to put forward phenomenal production this year where I feel really comfortable with him. One of the stats that I look at with a guy that's coming out, especially for the edge, defensive tackle as well. But, what's your snaps per loss? Something that I look at where it's tackles for a loss and sacks. When you are in the 20s, that is ridiculous. So David Bailey is 28, and I think he's one you can kind of point to as an absolute freak. Derek Moore's 38, and that's a really, really good number to be at. Anything under 50, I really like to see. Other players of note like Cassius Howell, Akeem Messidor, those guys are 35 and 42 respectively. So I'm all in on Derek Moore for this year's draft class. I think he's a special player. I've got him right now as my edge 5.
Okay, we
How do you
start
feel
off
with
cooking with
running back
gas.
stuff, especially with Seattle?
What's that?
Yeah. How do you foil? Because I know like the big thing a lot of people are, and even I'm there with it, is like as a run defender specifically, how does that fit into what Seattle currently has? Like we saw how they were with pass rushers and stuff leading up to the Super Bowl, which they already they're pretty deep at that position already. Do you think there's a player that like he rotates in well with on that front, or is this kind of just like you just wanted to get your guy in there any way you could?
So a little bit is like, hey, he's the next guy up on my board, but then also taking a look at it, and I'm not making a comp whatsoever. But when you take a look at DeMarcus Lawrence for Seattle and where they're at with him as kind of their like starting outside linebacker, edge rusher, he's 33 years old. I think that there is going to be a sunset for him at some point. And when you're the reigning Super Bowl champs, you get a little bit of a luxury pick. You can afford to kind of take a pick that doesn't necessarily feel a pressing need. It feels something that you're maybe building more for the future. And when I take a look at this with them playing primarily an odd man front, I think Derek Moore kind of slides in really well where he's not this overly large hulking player that kind of finds himself in between that 4-eye and that 7 technique. I think he can slide in really well as a pass rushing outside linebacker. And I think he's got, from what I've seen for him at Michigan, the ability to play as a run defender in that role. So I think it was something where I see him winning Rookie of the Year next year? Absolutely not. I don't know, what his contribution is going to be to Seattle next year. But I think that his sophomore and his junior season, that's where you really have an opportunity for him to make a huge impact. And so I think it's a little bit of a luxury pick, but I really like kind of the fit there with a replacement for DeMarcus Lawrence.
Well, and then Boy Mafe left in free agency, so edge is actually a huge need for Seattle. So Peter Quinn, who podcasts Wednesdays at 7, is a Seahawks writer, and edge is his go-to position in round 1 for Seattle. So, like, I'm on board with Derek Moore round 1. Owen, who is your pick at 32 to Seattle?
Yeah, I went the other side of the trenches there. I feel like a player that I really like, and apparently, this is my guy now, apparently, because New was on this guy first, but I went with Caleb Tiernan at 32.
I love it! I love it!
Seattle Seahawks.
I'm actually mad because you're, like, disrespecting my boy Abraham Lucas or Charles Cross. I'm not sure which one. Or you're going to have him play guard because he's 6'7".
So I like both their tackles, and I was originally doing this pick with the idea of him playing guard, and then the fact that they're both so injury prone, that it's
Lucas absolutely is.
Yeah, so you have a guy that can play, who has played tackle, is getting projected inside the guard. In the perfect world, everyone stays healthy, he's playing tackle, right? Or he's playing guard. But in the anticipation of one of your tackles, especially Lucas getting hurt, you just have a guy ready made to slide out immediately to take that spot with that kind of flexibility there. So I like it for that reason specifically. I feel like offensive line is always just a need whenever you talk about Seattle. It's been like that way for years, and even like when they won the Super Bowl, that was kind of like is that where the Patriots can get him? Is the pass rush up the middle? I don't hate their line. Like I like the Gray Zabel pick from last year. It's maybe a bit excessive going back-to-back years, but I don't think with offensive line as the pick. But I don't think you can ever take too many offensive linemen for teams, especially in the first round. Like you're constantly re-upping those cupboards, you're installing guys, and then if you don't want to pay one of those tackles, I think Lucas still needs to get paid, right? Or maybe both of them have to get paid still.
Lucas got paid, I think, because they were able to secure him at a pretty team-friendly deal just because of the injury history to him.
Yeah. Well, so even then, I think with that being said, I think that it's insurance for that. I wasn't sure if they were paid or not, but you can just keep restocking your cupboard with those guys, and then not have to worry about investing money to get a higher level offensive line in front of Sam Darnold.
Okay, that not you don't have to sell me. I love Caleb Tiernan. I think the only pushback I would have is I really don't know if I see him as a guard. I don't know if he quite has that style of play to him. But you don't have to sell me on taking Caleb Tiernan as a first round pick because I really do like Caleb Tiernan. He's going to end up somewhere between 30 and 40 on my board. And so I love that we're kind of flip flopping our guys.
So, Owen, who did you have going to the Patriots at 31?
A pick that's going to make one particular Bills fan in the audience, if he is listening, really upset. I have KC Concepcion going to the New England Patriots here at 31. You're losing Stephon Diggs because he's a trash human being. You're picking up, you're picking up an outside receiver in Romeo Doubs who has some size and can be more of that outside X-ish receiver. You already have Kyle Williams, who is another one of those guys with kind of flexible Z slot type. You add in Casey Concepcion, who I think would work best as a Z. Free up Kyle Williams to be more of that slot type player. Now you got a ton of speed there to complement what you're building in that running backfield, and already having adding your X receiver in Dobbs. So I think if you're looking to add an ability, because Drake May was the best with the deep ball last year, statistically wise, I do think that would be your best way to add those pieces to make him the most successful in that passing game, especially with what they've already added in free agency. I was also looking at maybe interior offensive line. I know they're banking a lot on Elijah Vera Tucker staying healthy. But I feel like they have enough capital and it's a deep enough interior offensive line class. You can come back around and grab another guy later on that can help you with that specifically.
I'm not going to argue with that at all. I think that wide receiver is in need. I ate up all the wide receivers that I would want to take. I shouldn't say that, but I think that I kind of hit a tier of wide receiver, and I was like, do I want to dip down to my next wide receiver? So all mine were gone by then. It would have been Jeremy Bernard. And no disrespect for Jeremy Bernard. Obviously, both you and I like him. I don't see him right there. And so I kind of went a different route. So I went with, once again, this is two of my guys to end it. But I had Josiah Trotter out of Missouri for the Patriots here. He's number 25 on my board. I think the Patriots have a massive need when you take a look at what they have in the middle of their defense. They've got Robert Spillane as one of their middle inside linebackers, and I just want to pull it up really quick. They also have, if I can find it, Christian Ellis as their other one. And I think that when you get a guy that can come in and really just be the firecracker that Josiah Trotter is, and once again, I know I'm higher on him. This is something where I think if I were to make a prediction, he's probably going to go in either late second, early third round. But I really like him. I think he's got an opportunity to be an impactful player, both as a run defender, as a blitzer. And I think that if you put him in the right situation, especially some zone or spy coverage over the middle, that he can be successful there as well. So I went completely different route there with linebacker. What do you think about that, Owen?
I don't mind it. I think that they have one of the things I think, if I remember correctly, their starting linebacker was benched in the middle of last year. I can't remember which one it was. I can't remember at the moment in time. But a big thing about their backers were they were kind of more slow and plodding. They weren't the most athletic group. So if you're adding a guy like that who is all athleticism, all downhill, you got to kind of rein it in a bit and coach him up more, which I can trust a Mike Vrabel coaching team to do that. I think that's a good pick for them, especially for adding to a team that was successful on offense, and then if you can continue to add an elite defense around him, put him on that early Patriots plan, I think you can see some early success there, especially.
No, and that makes sense. I love kind of seeing that, and once again, if Josiah Trotter is not your cup of tea, I think linebacker is kind of an option there no matter what. But that takes me to pick 30, right?
Yep.
With the
you got it, dude.
I'm reading your mind, man. I'm reading your mind. So with pick 30 for the Dolphins, I went. What do you think the Dolphins' biggest need is?
Wide receiver at this time now.
Corner.
Okay. And then their second biggest need is
corner.
I went with my best corner available on the board at that time, who was a man named D'Angelo Pons out of the University of Indiana. Best player on the board. I think they need help at nickelback. I think they need help at literally any position in their backfield. Yep. Would I have liked to get a true outside corner there? Yes, I was really torn between D'Angelo Pons and Brandon Cisse, who did not make my first-round mock. I think it just came down to if Miami had a lockdown nickel corner, I would have pivoted and gone Cisse. I don't think they have any guy that they're really comfortable with as a starting cornerback if you look at kind of those three, the two boundaries and the one nickel. And so rather than going, which again, this gets into the conversation of when you take a look at, and I'm looking at Halfley kind of from the Packer tree, D'Angelo Pons might be up. But once again, this is where I would go with it and what I look at. But if I take a look there, Pons was the best corner on my board. Maybe as Ryan Sparks is saying, like he can play some outside corner. I think he's going to primarily be a slot guy, but he's the next best corner I have. They need help across the board. So I went with D'Angelo Pons for Miami Dolphins.
Oh, and who did you have going at pick 30?
So I also went corner here because that is another position of need. I really feel like that is where I would have went as well. I went with my top guy available. Do you know who it is, Newt? I know we just did our corner.
Chris Johnson.
It is Chris Johnson, the corner. I think he's a guy that, especially for the type of team they want to move towards, the corners they got rid of Kader Kohu, they get rid of these smaller, undersized, more athletic guys, and they're moving more towards bigger, physical, man-type players. I think that the Chris Johnsons of the world are what they're going to be rotating towards. I personally think I don't remember if he's still on the team or if they got rid of him, but like Cam Smith would have fit a lot better in this defensive scheme than he did when the previous one that they drafted him into. A lot of those corners they previously were kind of oil and water with, whereas Rasul Douglas can perform well, but then you have these high upside athletes that are struggling. Or you have these undersized slot guys playing outside. Like that's not going to happen anymore. I think you're going to go in there, set the tone with what you want that backfield, defensive backfield to look like, and you have Chris Johnson, who is my only other first round corner besides the two others that will be going, and as kind of a tease there.
Ooh, there you go.
So I have three corners going.
We gotta keep the tease.
Big shocker there.
So Owen, does that mean that the Chiefs at 29 did not take a corner?
They did not. So the Chiefs at 29 did not take a corner. They went with a different position of need and a player that I had to fit into this first round mock somewhat. And it's what would you characterize as the top three positions of need for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Wide receiver, cornerback, edge rusher.
Okay. So I hit two of those positions with their two first round picks in this mock. We're gonna get rid of the wide receiver right now with their later pick. I had quite a few wide receivers going in this, and I have two Indiana wide receivers going in the first round with Elijah Surratt to the Kansas City Chiefs, complementing the speed with Xavier Worthy out of the slot. You have Rashee Rice as more of your over the middle of the field route running type receiver, and then you have Elijah Surratt, who with a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes that can have that work off the script, try to find that guy, that back shoulder. I think he'll work a lot more into what he was really great with prime Travis Kelce, with kind of working off his quarterback, that chemistry element, which that was kind of what was game breaking about their offense outside of the speed with Tyreek. So we're getting back to that a little bit more with my guy, who I think is now officially my guy again. My guy is. I got my guys on both Indian receivers apparently.
Yeah, you take him back. I mean, I'm not gonna like. I know the love for Surratt. I'm obviously like number one Surratt hater out here. So obviously, I think that's a trash pick, just with the player. But no, I like that a lot. So fun fact, I went also with wide receiver. Do you want to take a guess based on my wide receiver board, who I went with for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Oh, I gotta take a look at this because I know you liked different guys than I did.
Did you have Brazel this high, Newt?
Is it Denzel Boston?
It is Denzel Boston.
There you go. Okay.
I actually have not watched Chris Basil. I have to. There were a couple things that I just didn't get around to watching him for. He will be watched before the draft. I promise everyone. I just haven't watched him yet. It is Denzel Boston. My thought is they don't have that guy in Kansas City right now, where and I don't know if they've ever really had that guy in Kansas City where it's, hey, let's kind of put it up down the sideline and let him just kind of be a dominant player. Obviously going back to like Tyreek Hill being, the cheetah and what he does. Rashid Rice is a really solid route runner and a well-built player, but he's not necessarily like this big deep ball guy. Tyquan Thornton is skinny as a rail. And then now you have Xavier Worthy, who's a burner. He's a great Z for you. But I think that they kind of lack that dominant big player. And this is where I, have Denzel Boston as a player that's graded higher than this pick. I see the need for a wide receiver just like you do. I just kind of went with a different flavor.
Yeah, so Iowa Joe, it's great to see you stop by the podcast. You made all three of us laugh. Great job.
Oh, man. That's good.
So, Newt, do you want to go through your Houston Texans debacle?
So I'm not going to give too much away in terms of like what got me here, because obviously like that's going to maybe imply Mowgli doing something. What do we got going on here?
It's the other one. Mowgli's in the tree. There's a bunch of styrofoam over by my board games, and my other cat is doing, I don't know what he's doing. All right, he's done now, apparently.
Nice.
The cats catch so much crap on this podcast.
They earn it. Listen, I had to lock up. I made homemade Alfredo sauce. I had to lock it in the oven when we left to go to my mom's house earlier.
Actually lock the oven.
I put it the pan. There was in a pan. I needed to cool down because I'm doing meal prepping. When after I get off here, I put a lid on the pan and said this isn't secure enough, and put it in the oven because I was like, they're gonna take the lid off this pan and then eat all my.
I thought his cats were talented enough to open the oven.
That's what I did too. Because
he would make more money. He would make more money on the cats than he ever would podcast.
I was like, you've seen those oven doors that you could actually lock it. I thought like you literally, because they were like figured out a way to hang on it and open it up.
I wouldn't put it past them. They know to open doors. So.
Have you seen those cat AI videos where it's like I go to bed and then this is what happens, and it's like cats coming in playing like a mariachi band and everything. Like
it's not far off.
That was what went through my head. I was like, what is going on in the McCullough household? So I wanted to go offensive line here. I couldn't quite bring myself to pull the trigger on Caleb Tiernan here, which, yes, I feel awful. I'm a hater, whatever it may be. But, like, he was one I was going through a little bit in terms of, should I grab him? But the other thing that I was looking at is when you take a look at the Houston Texans and what they need, they really need interior. And this goes back to my conversation surrounding, like, I don't think Tiernan can play interior. He's a left tackle. They drafted Arianti Ursary. Like, I just think it's double dipping a little bit. And so I kind of was fighting myself with that. And then the other thing I think they need really, really badly is defensive line help. I think they absolutely need defensive line help. And then this is kind of where I took my reach. I love the player. I don't know if I love the player here. I definitely don't love the player here, but this is where I went Kristen Miller out of Georgia.
You're not the first one to do that pick. I've seen Texans people come on this podcast to make that exact pick.
It was the next guy up, and I was like, we need it. I don't want to force Tiernan here because I don't think it's a good fit for him. I didn't feel comfortable, like, Lou steps into this situation with a torn ACL, and like Besantis, I'm kind of reaching a little bit further on my board. And so I just kind of ultimately fell with Tiernan. It probably took me a solid 90 seconds to 2 minutes to make this pick, because I was just like, I was fighting with myself with kind of how I had sniped all the other picks before that. But Owen, what are your thoughts on Kristen Miller here? I can't even remember where you have him on your DT big board.
He's not my pick here because he's gone already by this point. So there's
damn.
This is a great format, isn't it? Like, let's go.
I was high man on Kristen Miller, and Owen said, "Hold my beer. We're gonna talk about him a little bit later."
He's
Jennings Dunker's too early here. I love Jennings Dunker. He's too early here.
I thought about him here for a second because I thought about Tiernan, right? And I was like, okay, he's probably my best available offensive lineman that I would think would fit. But it was still a little too high for even him. There's a lot. This interior offensive line class is so good. Like, especially the day 2 picks you can make. Dunker's going to be there, most likely. I'm not drafting for a team, but Tiernan's probably going to be there. Proctor, if you kick him inside. Those are just like some of the tackle dudes that you're looking at. That's not even counting the centers or other guards like Brian Parker, Jake Slaughter, Matt Golden, Rutledge. All these dudes are available that you don't need to force an interior offensive lineman that maybe doesn't fit the needs, and especially if there's a player like I went and picked that fell down the board and should have gone higher. And even though it's not a position of need, I think the rich get richer with this pick from me here, and you get some insane sub-package rushing. So I went with the same mindset you had with Christian Miller, but I went with a different player. I went with Akeem Mesidor, the edge out of Miami.
Oh shit! Okay.
Be able to reduce down inside. We have an injury history here. He's a bit older. You don't want to put so much wear and tear on him. You just gave that extension to Danielle Hunter, but he's on the older side. You bring a guy in that can spell those guys or reduce down and be like your third rusher on the interior, and have just one of the most deadly pass rushes you could possibly imagine. So I do think that this was a place where I was like, I could reach for an offensive lineman. None of them really fit for this, and if this is what I would do, and I have this guy graded as highly as I do, and I'm not really worried about all of the negatives with it, I'm grabbing a guy that's going to help me make my defense one of the scariest units in this century.
Okay. I see, like, I don't hate that. I'm looking at it with Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter, like you said, and I was like, I can't. And I think that it probably would have been, a conversation with Akeem Mesidor. I'm trying to look at other guys that are maybe a little bit bigger that I have that could reduce. I don't know if I would have gone that way, but I definitely see kind of what you're talking about there with that. So I like it. I like it. I like also the fact that I'm kind of like waiting for Christian Miller's name to get called now.
So
Proper tease.
San Francisco at 27. Who did you have?
So San Francisco offensive line, I think, is a big issue that we kind of always target here. And a guy was slipping down my board just because I felt like he didn't really fit a lot of spots. Even though I have him graded higher, I still have to go back and redo my watch because I know a lot of people are kind of down on him now. But I'm still relatively high on him, and it's another situation of like this guy was super highly graded, and we're just going to make the fit work. So I went with Caleb Lomu here, the tackle from Utah. Trent Williams, is he going to play for the 49ers this year? I know there was a big question mark about his future with the team, but has that died down?
I mean, so I'll put it this way. I made a pick for the exact same position with the exact same mindset. So
Newt, who was your pick for San Francisco?
Well, it was not Caleb Lomu because we're going to talk about Caleb Lomu a good bit from now. Just put it that way. Mine was Caden Proctor, and this is kind of where I went with Proctor, and I think that I'm not riding like the Caden Proctor playing guard train, but I could see a world where maybe that happens. I think he's got that nasty to him that you look for, and I think that honestly having him play in a smaller amount of space might be better for him, especially with like his lack of fluidity and movement on the outside at times. But when I take a look at him, I think you're still getting a really solid offensive line prospect wherever he might end up. Ideally, I'd love him to be a left tackle. If he can't be a left tackle, I think that there are other avenues that you can go down with him that he can be a stellar offensive lineman for you with. And so that's why I went with Caden Proctor. He was next up on my board for offensive linemen. And this is kind of like where that dip happens. Like I've got Caden Proctor as offensive lineman 5, and he comes in at number 34 on my big board. So it wasn't like a massive reach, but then Tiernan kind of gets into the 40s for me. And so that's where I was like, I can't get on board quite with that yet. So that's where I landed with that.
So, what did you do for San Francisco?
He went Lomu.
Oh, wait. Got it. I
You're all good.
Order. Okay.
There's going to be a lot of back and forth. So
we've matched positions so far. This is probably our best chance to make a player match right here.
We are absolutely not going to make a player match right here.
Why so confident?
Because I went with KC Concepcion for the Buffalo Bills. Who... I'm not sure what you guys think, but absolutely need a wide receiver. And Casey Concepcion was Denzel Boston was technically the highest receiver on my board there, but I think Casey Concepcion, the way he plays, the separation he makes, it's just such a great weapon for Josh Allen to have. I also didn't want to grab Denzel Boston and have all Bills fans riot against me for like Keon Coleman 2.0, which I don't think he is. Like, I'm going to say that right now. I don't think Denzel Boston's Keon Coleman 2.0, but I wasn't even going to open up that door.
That'll trigger Bills Mafia. I wouldn't mind the Boston pick, but I think you or Brandon Beam would get crucified in the media if he made that pick.
So I went with wide receiver. I think that's the pick to go. Oh, at least for me, that's what I see as like, hey, you got to help Josh Allen out here. Casey Concepcion, one of the best, if not the best separator in this class. At that point, I couldn't say no to it.
So,
right, well,
Owen, what do you think of Concepcion, and who was your pick for Buffalo?
Well, I actively passed on taking Concepcion here.
Because you think he's undraftable, obviously, by taking him in the late half of the first round.
I took him at 31 to the Patriots over Jeremy Bernard, even though I have Jeremy Bernard ranked higher. But
Jeremy. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, Bernard didn't make this first round mock. I put KC there because I do think, again, vibes check. I think KC has a better chance of being like the vibes of number one receiver.
Oh, this is the vibes of Owen McCullough, not the vibes of the people.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not the vibes of Randall Slifer, I can tell you that. But so I passed on him, and just a spoiler here. CJ Allen didn't make my first round mock at all. I passed on CJ Allen here either.
CJ Allen didn't make my first round mock either.
Which those are the two most popular
I felt bad
names.
about that, but
I did too.
Did not.
But I wanted to fit him in with the Texans. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Henry To'o has been too good, but I passed on both those guys that have been super popular picks for the Bills. With both of them being on the board to go for what is becoming my front runner for my favorite pick if the board breaks the way it did in my mock, which is going to be Chase Besantis, the interior offensive lineman from Texas A&M,
to come in
and be the starting left guard for the Buffalo Bills. Allow Alec Anderson to be your do-it-all backup lineman, kind of revisit his role from last year. You're going to need some of that consistency, especially with your depth players, with losing Ryan Vandermark most likely. Tyler Grable has had an injury history, so you're taking a big hit to your depth, and I think Besantis he's my number one graded interior offensive lineman in this class. And I think he does everything you want, and he's
your number one?
He's my number one.
Where do you have Vega?
Number two. He goes ahead of him in this mock.
Okay.
Because of the athletic upside, and I think Vega has a higher upside, so
okay.
I usually take him higher just from that perspective.
Right.
But like when factoring in floor, I like Besantis immediately coming out of the draft right away more.
No, that's
Jerry Ostrowski is Besantis' interior offensive lineman one as well.
No, that's like totally fair. I don't see them that close. Besantis is IOL 3 for me. But like I have a big crush on Lou, so that's gonna be partly why
he's IOL 3 for me. Which for it's funny that every time I try to compare Vega and Besantis, I'm like, oh, Vega's the higher upside. Vega's the higher upside because he's younger, and I'm like, Besantis is only 3 years in the league or in college. Yeah. He's only a 3-year, and he was a 3-year starter.
It's not that he's younger. It's that he has less experience.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
That's that's gonna be the thing.
The athleticism and less experience makes it feel like the sensation of higher upside with that, whereas Besantis has the ton of experience and is young, and I love him. I love him so much.
That's fair. So has the Elijah Surratt to the Bills love fallen off? That's what I'm hearing.
It's lower than some of the other options that even the ones I've. I think he's tied with like Casey Concepcion. If they went with either of those guys there for the Bills pick, I'd be happy with them.
Nice. All right, well, tell me about the long snapper you took for the Chicago Bears.
Actually, not to give away too much, I was actually going to wear my jersey and my buddy because he bought me an Eddie Jackson jersey a while ago.
Shit, really?
I don't know where. I think it's in my closet, but I wanted to do right by the Bears here. And your wait is over because this is the Kristen Miller spot for me with the Chicago Bears.
We hit the same position again.
Yes, so I wanted to go like nose tackle. I'm not a big Caden McDonald, Lee Hunter, these big nose tackle.
Wait, tell me more about Caden McDonald.
He's an Ohio State player. Obviously, he's not a first-round grade. But I'm not the biggest fan of these guys, and I'm planning on making I'm gonna make top 10 videos for this draft class for positions, and I'm doing them for the first one I'm making is nose tackles and centers because I think there is enough meat on that bone to make top 10 videos
Centers
for
especially,
both
but
of
I
those
think
positions.
nose tackles, especially when you start getting to some of the guys that were in the like the combine, like you're like I'm blanking on some of the names, but there are some legitimate nose tackles in this year's draft class.
Oh yeah, and here's a bit of a spoiler for the video itself. My nose tackle 1 for that video is actually I'll correct myself. My nose tackle 2 because I technically put Caleb Banks in there is Kirsten Miller. I think he's a guy who weighed in 320.
Nose tackle.
I thought he played if in a penetration style defense, which they run more of an even front in Chicago. I think he could be a better nose tackle. I didn't love like his anchoring and ability to do that, but if he's going to be playing at 320 and coming in and playing with that level of weight, I think it can definitely improve there. So for me, he's a guy that I think can definitely do that level of play in that position if you really want to do that. Because I'm not like Gervin Dexter doesn't move me off of that much. But even if you don't move him, put him nose tackle,
Yeah.
he'll be a great 3 tackle. He's a great player. So I think he's got the upside to do anything you want in that front.
Yeah, so I went with Cade McDonald, and it was everything you just said. I like Cade McDonald as my number 3 defensive tackle in this year's draft class. He is literally one position on my big board behind my number 2 guy, and it's not a question of for me like what is he going to bring that's going to be the juice, and that is going to be his run defense. And I know I talked down Tyleik Williams a little bit last year, actually probably a lot of it last year in terms of his impact as a pass rusher, kind of knocking him down my board a little bit. I think McDonald is even better as a run defender. And like the dude is a brick wall as far as I'm concerned. So when you kind of take a look at like how incredibly impactful he is, that makes it that much more challenging to pass up on. So I went with McDonald. Say we see the position the same, just players a little bit different. And then that takes me to the Cleveland Browns, who once again, let's play the game of what are the Browns' 3 biggest needs?
Offensive line, and wide receiver.
Who are the greatest rappers in the world? Daylon, and Daylon. Wide receiver, offensive line, and hell, you can toss tackle and guard in there. But
Shedeur Sanders propaganda is just too high, Newt. You didn't have quarterback on your list.
I'm not grabbing Ty Simpson as
But you asked what their 3 biggest needs were to suggest that they're okay with Shedeur Sanders.
That's fair.
Shedeur Sanders is graded the same as Ty Simpson for me from last year.
Oh, yeah, I mean, but regardless, so yeah, toss quarterback in there. I'm not going to address quarterback here, but yeah, sure, toss quarterback in there. I went with Owen's boy, Omar Cooper Jr. here.
All right.
He's not a top 10 pick. He's not a top 20 pick either, but he's a first-round draft pick.
I'll take it.
I mean, come on, man. What are we doing here? This is, and when I talked about it, one where I have admittedly been a little bit lower on him that as a outside wide receiver. I would love him to play the slot for Cleveland. However, I think that the Isaiah Bond experiment might continue. I'm not really sure, what that looks like with him being a UDFA. Obviously, very extenuating circumstances that led to that. But Cedric Tillman has yet to play a 17-game season. Jerry Jeudy, as a player, has some question marks around him in terms of what is his role in that organization. I could easily see him being a trade candidate next year. And so I think that if you get Cooper Jr. in there, you give some really good inside-outside versatility to a player that can win in a lot of different ways for those roles. I still question some of the route running pieces from him, but we talked about it. You get the ball in this man's hand, and he's going to cook. And for a young quarterback, one that is not able to necessarily push the ball down the field, that's a really huge selling point, a guy that you can run bubble screens to or short slants to, and you can let him be the production rather than you having to, fit it in there. So I really like Concepcion in that role.
Well, first off, I want to correct myself from last pick. I originally had Kristen Miller as a nose tackle in that top 10 ranking, and then I took him out in place for Caleb Banks. So that was a mistake on my end, but I ended up making that change. But we went with the same position here, and it was someone you already picked. So it's Denzel Boston. You have Jerry Jeudy as kind of that route running intermediate.
Well, you were higher on Denzel Boston than me? Holy.
I was, yeah.
Wow. All right.
And I told you, a lot of wide receivers go in this mock, and Cedric Tillman doesn't prevent me from drafting a guy I think can reasonably go in the first round.
Not when Cedric Tillman's got ankles of glass.
Yeah, so that was kind of the big body compliment to the Jerry Jeudy route runner that I think they really do need. Stop putting Jerry Jeudy as your X receiver, your number one guy.
Yeah. Nice.
And who did you have going for the Eagles at 23?
This is the Caleb Banks spot for me. I think they're a team that can, across the board with their roster, can afford to take a guy that's going to be a bit more project, injury prone, take a swing and allow that to kind of ruminate and come in and just be an over-the-top piece, and maybe eventually develop into a guy that replaces like a Jordan Davis or the other D tackle I'm forgetting the name of right now.
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter,
yeah. A guy who
top
eventually
3 defensive tackle in the league. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, number 1 overall player I've ever graded ever. Yeah, he eventually be a replacement for those guys if they were going to be too expensive for them to keep. So, really a luxury pick for them, despite being at 23. So I went with Caleb Banks because there is kind of some question marks there.
I don't like that, but I understand when you talk about it as a luxury pick, and the Eagles kind of being a sneaky team that can take a luxury pick. I actually, and obviously, have Banks still on my board, and with that, I really don't see him being an option there. If that works, that works. I like it, but I think that I have a tough time with a team that's trying to win a Super Bowl going with a depth piece for their defensive tackle room. I grabbed Jordan Tyson for them, and that's going to be to address whatever weird situations going with A.J. Brown, to continue to add some weapons for Jalen Hurts in that wide receiver room. And I know they've kind of been slowly acquiring guys, but I don't think we're necessarily at a situation where it is said and done yet. So I went with Jordan Tyson there, probably a lot lower than people would think in regards to where he would go, but that's about where I have him graded on my board. I don't know, Owen, what your thoughts are on that. And I just saw that Anthony Richardson thing. Is Anthony Richardson actually going to Green Bay?
So I'm only seeing tweets on it, but it's not a done deal. It's rumors.
Okay.
I haven't seen Schefter tweet it. So
6th or 7th round pick for Anthony Richardson? Yeah, sure. Why not?
It's not the worst.
I mean, I'll gladly take that for a guy that went 5th overall.
Yeah. Only question I have with that pick is, why do you hate Jordan Tyson?
Because I think Jordan Tyson isn't an elite separator, and he's got some injury history to him.
All right, well, you're just wrong, and you're going to wait a while before you hear his name on my mock.
Oh, you both took injured players to the Eagles. You have something in common.
It's luxury of luxuries. They take these guys who are more like Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter both had rap coming out. Like, they were better than where they were picked, even though they were still like teens picks, because they had stuff that held them back. The Eagles take these luxury guys, and then it ends up working out for them.
I mean, it's the weirdest thing in the world, where you take a look at like the culture inside the Eagles locker room. It's like conducive to these guys, and a lot of the players that come in there, because they end up really playing to a high level. So I took Jordan Tyson. I'm up, right?
Yep.
To the Los Angeles Chargers.
Come on, baby.
I don't think we're gonna have the same pick.
God damn it, Newt!
What?
This is like the layup of layup picks. Everyone picks this guy.
I took T.J. Parker.
Oh my god!
Yes. No, there was a Chargers podcaster that came on here and did mock drafts, and Parker was his preferred pick for the Chargers. I don't know that this is a layup.
I took
Like-
T.J. Parker. What do you want from me?
It's Vega Ione.
He's already gone.
Well, so Owen, in your mock, did TJ Parker get a round 1 grade?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's
I was
gone
saying,
with-
Okay.
he's high in T.J. Parker.
I was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
sure he
yeah.
was, but I was
Yeah.
just I'm checking. Okay.
I'm just
Oh,
like,
and
what do you
thought.
want? The Chargers can't pick a player that's already been picked. Why are you angry at me for this?
I like it because I love the player. To the player and the pick that they went. If Vega isn't on the board, then yes, that makes sense. Because
I was gonna say, I can't do anything if he's already gone. Like,
You're-
yes, if Vega Ione was on the board here, I would have picked him instead of T.J. Parker, but he's not there.
I did.
So-
I guess I'm gonna start turning into the Ione hater because I don't think he should go any. Like this is like the floor for where he goes for me. Like, I don't know.
Man, well, you better
he goes
strap
higher
in.
than
You
this.
better strap in there, bud. All right, because we're about to be in for a fun ride.
I am jealous of the beard. That has been a constant in this podcast history. That has never changed.
Just kind of quick on him. I know we both like him. I think T.J. Parker is an opportunity to be an heir apparent to Khalil Mack if you get him in that situation where he can really learn behind one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. I think T.J. Parker is a phenomenal run defender as is. I think he has some things that he can still stand to grow with in terms of his pass rush. I think he's a very versatile player where he can play a lot of different roles, whether it's a stand-up edge rusher, hand in the dirt type guy. And so I really like the versatility from him. I like the impact that he has. I don't think Khalil Mack is going to be around forever. And so I think this is kind of a really nice transition opportunity for the Los Angeles Chargers.
That's fair. And yeah, if Parker was available, I would have definitely taken that pick. 'Cause that's a great landing spot.
Would you have taken him over Ione or Ioane?
Ioane.
No.
No, okay. I didn't think so. I wouldn't have either. Which is why I took
Even though
Ione.
I have Parker graded higher, I wouldn't. I think the need at interior offensive line
Yeah.
is a little too high. Okay, for next is the Cowboys, and we're gonna stick
Steelers at 21.
Steelers. Oh, I skipped a guy.
Why do you hate the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Because I don't know. This is a pick that I was kind of wrestling with a bit, where I didn't know, because after they made the trade for Pittman, usually this is like a wide receiver spot, or they still have a quarterback. If you're high enough on Ty Simpson, this could be a spot for him. But they did that.
Whoa!
Like
Will Howard slander will not be stood for on this podcast. This isn't bullshit, all right?
You're right, which is why he's my quarterback right now as it stands after this first round mock, because they went with Keldrick Falk here. Getting a guy in that edge group, you have an aging, very expensive T.J. Watt. In your system where you have 3 down, it's an odd front. You have Cameron Hayward on kind of the last legs there in Pittsburgh. You need a guy who's going to play that 5-tech role or even that 4-eye a bit and be more slasher. I think Keldrick Falk can do that. So he can either be lined up as an edge, be the heir apparent there, or he can get some early starting reps being the heir apparent to Cam Hayward on the D line, and maybe chasing Cam Ward around during games.
So this is kind of where we flipped because I went with Vega Ione here.
There
or
it is.
Ione here. It's just it was a situation where I looked
It
at
was
their interior-
preposterous that he could have made it to the Chargers. He went one pick before.
You got angry at me though. Like I was as a Chargers GM, what am I supposed to do? I
Trade
couldn't
up.
Pick him.
Newt was the one that said he didn't want trades in this.
I was like, no trade.
Just for the record.
This is true.
Well, yes.
I said this. So, I mean,
Trades
we-
would confuse them. He's,
we-
you know,
I can't add and subtract things. We see the
It's that cheesehead brain.
This is true. A lot of holes in it. We see the player the same. We have kind of an understanding for that. I think that I'm not arguing with the TJ Watt successor. Obviously, I just used the same explanation for Khalil Mack out in LA. I see that situation, but that offensive line, once again, if it is Will Howard or a young quarterback that you're going to draft, you want to protect him. And I think that there's still some work to do on that line. If it's Aaron Rodgers and they do sign him back, you want to protect him because the man's getting up there. So absolutely think that that's something that I would like to see that team address. And then that takes us to the Cowboys' second pick via Green Bay. And this is where I went with Avion Terrell out of Clemson. I think it was a little high for me, but I look at them and the Cowboys absolutely need some help along or within their cornerback room. And I used this conversation with D'Angelo Pons, where I think that he can play inside outside, but I like Pons a little bit more inside. I really think that Avian Terrell, if asked, could be an outside or a boundary cornerback. If I had to choose, I'd love him in a nickel role. But with that being said, if I have an opportunity to pick him as a player that can be an addition to a room as a boundary cornerback, I'm going to take that, and he's going to be the next highest graded, true outside cornerback that I have, or a guy that can play true outside cornerback. So I went with Avian Terrell here.
I went with you with the defensive backfield, but I went with where there was more positional scarcity. I went Dylan Thieneman here, the safety out of Oregon. It was a bit of a reach on my board, but I feel like the lack of safeties that I love for this first round mock, his testing really kind of pushed on my board, like in the vibe section. And in general, I just think that they needed some extra oomph back there. They have Shavon Ravel at outside corner. Deron Bland is still technically there. I was looking at nickel corner because I was like, I don't love Deron Bland in that role. But he's still technically there, so maybe that wouldn't be the best use of that pick. So I went with the just adding talent there with safety and adding a guy who can come in and be a starter there at that third level of the defense. So that's why I went with Thieneman there.
Well, I obviously think Thieneman is undraftable, so I wasn't even going to consider him here. But no, like the backfield needs help, so I get that. But what do we got after this?
Yeah, so Owen, who did you have going to Carolina at 19?
Did he freeze?
Okay, so Owen for
this is kind
Owen
of lazy.
Carolina at 19.
Oh, I did freeze for a second. This is kind of the easy pick here for me, where it's Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end. I think that again, another guy that's kind of a reach, but more again positional scarcity, finding the most easy path to get a guy who can come in and be an impact contributor to your offense right away when you've already invested in offensive weapons. So that's where I went. That's kind of like, again, another layup in my opinion if he's there. So I do think really highly of him as an athlete. I just think he needs to put it all together more, and I think you got an offense that can insulate him a bit more than other offenses can.
Call it in. We got our first match.
Look at that. My over-under is 2.5, and
there it is.
We're gonna have at least 2.
There it is.
There we go.
Yeah, we're gonna have at least 2. Oh, or maybe we don't. No, we better. With that, I agree with everything Owen said. I was going between. Once again, I talked about it like a couple weeks back, where it's like I can't take another wide receiver. Like I just can't justify it after taking 2 first-round wide receivers. And I found a way to found the loophole in my rule by taking a pass catcher that's not technically a wide receiver. And I think Kenyon Sadiq fits this really well. He's a position of need. He's a phenomenal player. And so I like that. And I won't spend too much time on there. And then we get to the Minnesota Vikings. And this is where Caleb Banks goes for me to the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Vikings have, something. This is where I was starting to look. This is probably where my ceiling starts for Ioane, where I was like, do they have? No, they drafted Jonathan Jackson last year, and I don't think that you're going to hit necessarily any of these skill positions. Well, I shouldn't say that. Running back, yes, but there was not a running back at the time that I would have drafted. And so then it kind of flipped to the defensive side of the ball. And their interior defensive line, I think, does need to be addressed. And Banks is my number 2 defensive tackle. And so I went with Caleb Banks here.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why they wouldn't have gone, that would have been a great pick for this spot if Jeremiah Love wasn't still on the board. So he ended up being the pick from here with Minnesota.
You hate Jeremiah Love. You hate Jeremiah Love.
I think he's undraftable. That's why he's 19th overall as a running back here for me. It was just a matter of I was finding all these picks I really like the fit for. I'm like, oh, this is a fun conversation starter. And I'm like, I get to 19 and I look at I'm using the Draft Professor website. Go check it out if you haven't already. And the most popular pick, it says Jeremiah Love. I'm like, oh fuck, I haven't picked Jeremiah Love yet. I was like, well, this is the spot that he always lands
Yeah.
in. He's not making it past 19, so
No,
I
he
ended up-
won't. That's
no,
his
he's
floor.
gonna go higher than that probably if I would have thought about it more. But I was getting so caught up in like these other picks and these other takes I wanted to make with it that I was like, oh well, I guess we're doing this.
Well, I think that was when we did our first round mock like 3 weeks ago. I think this is where Jeremiah Love went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually think we could just do a Jeremiah Love landing spot podcast because I don't think it's a slam dunk that he goes in the top 5. But if he
No.
doesn't go 5, then there becomes a conversation. Is it the Rams? Is it the Lions? Is it the Vikings? Is it the Panthers?
Can
Hear me out,
teams
hear me out.
please learn from the Ashton Genty mistake last year that like just because this guy is a stud does not mean he can work with literally nothing around him. I was
Right.
really critical of the Raiders last year taking him Genty early.
Well, the
And-
Raiders draft professor didn't like it either.
Well, I agree with the Raiders draft professor, and it's just I hated it. I would hate it for any of the teams that I'm looking at in the top 5 right now. But what do you got?
Hear me out. Ravens.
I wouldn't
Jeremiah Love?
mind that. Yeah, with
It's
the
a
king.
spoil of riches, but like King Henry's
like,
getting up there in age. The
King
contracts.
Henry
I think-
is- Yeah, this is we've talked about so many positions where you're sunsetting one player and then drafting a player to fill that. I think that would be I didn't draft Jeremiah Love there, but I don't hate that spot. I really like that spot actually.
Yeah, I just was scrolling through. And I'm like, that's actually. I wish I would have thought of that earlier. I probably would have made that swing.
You know what's going to happen? Is this going to happen in real life? Because the Ravens always just like pick up the pieces that everyone leaves just laying on the floor.
Whenever we
So-
do this exercise again, which I'm sure I want to do this again, Jim, because this is really fun to battle this out head to head. I'll tell you right now, that's probably gonna be my pick. Is gonna be Love is gonna go to 14 of the Ravens.
Okay.
Am I up? No, wait.
So this is Owen
I'm-
at 17 for the Lions.
Yes, this is Monroe Freeling. Again, another kind of like if he's there, it's the layup pick because this is the one everyone keeps mocking. True left tackle. Very limited sample size was starting, so you're
Yep.
banking on a lot of rawness, which the Lions have not shied away from doing before. Like that was the thing with Penei Sewell when he was coming out. Was like he's a great athlete, he's a bit raw. What is going to happen? Stick him out there. He's catching passes on top of blocking for Jared Goff. So I think you're looking for an instant guy to plug in and replace your left tackle spot there. Minimize the question marks you have around that offensive line for an immobile quarterback. That's where I would go with that.
So I agree in pretty much every aspect of this pick possible, except with the name on the card. And that's because I'm going to go with Caleb Lomu here out of Utah. Left tackle, need offensive line help. They need someone to kind of bookend Sewell. And so this is where, for me, Lomu went. You had Lomu, correct me if I'm wrong, San Francisco?
Correct, yeah. Which I have him higher graded than Freeling, but that's still my summer scouting grade. I need to get back and rewatch Lomu.
Oh, you got a phenomenal player. I think it's the word smooth always comes to mind when I think of Lomu. Everything he does just seems very effortless, especially in pass pro. I think he's got some things he needs to clean up not clean up, but just like address as a run blocker. Like he doesn't have that nasty to him, but man, as a pass protector, I really, really like him as a blindside tackle. So Lomu for me, we see the position the same. I then get to the Jets, and this will not be a match because this is where I have Keldrick Falk going on my mock to the Jets. I think with their – because correct me if I'm wrong, they play an odd man front. That correct? I think so. I think this is kind of –
so.
this is why I landed on this. I think the Jets play an odd man front. I really like any opportunity. Yes, or at least according to our lads, they do. Any opportunity Keldrick Falk has to land in a 3-4 defense where he can just be this dominant 4-eye type player, I really like that opportunity. I think he can rush from anywhere from like a 7 tech to a 4-eye, and I think you can get some really good production out of this guy. But I think that just with the length and size that he has for the position, he is kind of built for this. And I take a look. Obviously, Will McDonald as their stand-up edge rusher is going to kind of be what they're looking at there. They've got Kingsley Enagbare as kind of like now that next one that they just signed in free agency, 1-year deal. That's not really pushing the needle. And then after that, you've got guys like Devondre Sweat is going to be their nose tackle, but it's David Onyemata and Harrison Phillips as their defensive ends on that 3 side. And to me, that's like, oh man, you can get a huge upgrade there with Keldrick Falk. So that's where I landed with this pick.
And I don't think there's a wrong position to draft the Jets.
Correct. I'm not as like all in on wide receiver, I think, as other people are. I think after their top 2 guys with Adonai Mitchell and Garrett Wilson, there is a massive drop off. But when you have 2 picks in the top 16 and you have so many positions that you need to fill, I really don't like going wide receiver. But that's just my 2 cents. Owen's probably I drafted Jordan Tyson here.
So, but before we get to Owen's pick, I have a question, Newt. So, wide receiver. You had a wide receiver going at 20. No, Owen had a wide receiver going. No, one of you had a wide receiver going to Philadelphia at 23. I think it was Jordan Tyson for Newt.
Yes.
Newt, when's the next time in your mock that we're going to hear a wide receiver? Is it at pick 13 or 14?
No.
So it's even earlier.
Yes.
So there was a gap. So
yeah.
One of the observations I'm making right now.
My top 2 guys are a lot higher.
So Owen, I'm about to put the same question to you, but if you look at this mock with you guys dueling, there's a string of 10 picks where no wide receiver got taken for as many wide receivers that are going in round 1.
Yeah, I go from pick 24 to in that range you laid out to Newt. I won't spoil too much, but in that range there.
Yeah, 23 is mine, so like it's very similar in terms of how we kind of see that.
So Owen, who did you have the Jets taking at 16?
Jermon McCoy, the corner from Tennessee. I know that's Newt's boy. That's his boy Blue. I guess his boy Blue. Orange. But I think if you're the Jets, you're the team that's not afraid to take a swing at a guy that may miss some time his rookie season through injury. You're trying to lose football games to get a quarterback next year. You're fine with taking a redshirt season with Jermon McCoy if he needs to come along a bit more slowly than other corners that you could take. So I think that's the injury played in with it there, as well as just position need. You trade away Sauce Gardner. You have Brandon Stevens is lined up to be a starting outside corner for you right now.
Correct.
I would, if I'm a Jets fan, I'm doing anything I can to not have that be the case, at least for a full-time gig. So that is where you need to invest something there.
If I had one of those top 2 guys still on the board, I would have gone cornerback. That would have been a very easy conversation. Like, boom. This is what we're addressing because I love the fit actually for Falk there, but I think that cornerback position is just so pressing after you got rid of Sauce. Who do you got for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
All right, this is going to be controversial.
Oh, mine's going to be controversial too. Is it the same player?
I don't know. Is it an edge rusher?
Yes.
Cassius Howell?
No. Is it David Bailey?
Yes.
Yeah!
David Bailey fell to 15 for both of you.
Let's go!
Edge 3 and number 15 overall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a beautiful fit. Like this is in a world where he can fall to 15, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be like the perfect fit. If I could pick any of the 32
100%.
teams, I'm sticking him on Tampa Bay. Edge 3, it's simply that I went other positions, other places, and I am not the biggest David Bailey fan. I mean, he's a first round grade, but like he's not like number 2 overall is nuts to me. Like I think a guy who's that weak at the point of attack can't be your go-to kind of like dominant edge player. How many guys outside like Nick Bonito this year have been just that crazy bendy edge player? Maybe like prime Von Miller. That's kind of stretching it too because he still had some of that strength to his game. That kind of was what made him special. That like I don't know if David Bailey has that level. So I had him falling here at 15 because it matches where I have him kind of graded out.
Dude, I was getting ready to be like, oh man, I got to talk about this now. And then you just laid it all out. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. Yeah, no, like it was the same thing. Like he is my edge too. And like he went his edge 2 for me, and I know you haven't said TJ Parker's name yet, which I respect the hell out of. But for me, when I take a look at him, it was like, oh, like I want to address this position, or oh, they don't need that type of edge rusher, and it just kind of kept like falling down. And once again, and Owen said it really well. When I take a look at David Bailey as like on my overall big board, he is player 15 for me. He was drafted at spot 15. Like it fit really well. And I'm always willing to give a nod to an edge rusher in terms of like, hey, they're a premium position. But I couldn't make anything work before that. And then, as Owen said, it fell, and I was like, boom, this is so easy. David Bailey here to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we are at 2, and 99.999 going to be at 3. So we have gone over the 2.5 that Jim has set.
Yeah, you've nailed my over-under, but this is a great way, I think, to kind of compare first-round grades between podcasters.
That's awesome.
I'm sitting here, and I'm not saying much, but like I am soaking all this in. This is actually really good.
That was awesome. That was an elite moment there.
That was super solid.
That was actually also impressive that like Newt, that you figured that out, that you two match before.
When I saw the twinkle in Owen's eye, and I was like, he's about to say the same spicy thing that I'm gonna.
Also to your point, he's Bailey's 16th on my board, so this is exactly where I would have him.
100%.
Okay.
So
Baltimore at 14. Did you match this one? Because there's a couple.
He said it's not a receiver.
Oh.
This is where I kind of
fell off. It is.
Who do you think it is? I'm curious.
Or actually, no. I'm dumb. I missed it. You
okay.
said Vega.
If I guess, it's Peter Woods.
It's not Peter Woods.
Is Peter Woods in your mock?
Oh God, yeah. Are you kidding me? I love Peter Woods.
Well, but you see, you say that because there's several people that aren't picking Peter Woods in round 1. So.
Several people that don't know ball, in my opinion. Moving on. Is offensive line.
Oh, is it Fano?
Is it
Pregnon?
It's Fano. No, I'm not a big Pregnon fan. It's Spencer Fano, and this is simply from the fact that yes, they just drafted Roger Rosengarten. And I think like he's worked out really well for them, but like I think Fano could kick inside and be a really good guard for you and have that phenomenal guard tackle flexibility to him. And so like it was me looking at the board and saying, okay, what's the next position? Man, I'd really like to grab a center for them after the exit of Tyler Linderbaum, which is still weird to think of Tyler Linderbaum as not a Raven. And I know it's only been a rookie contract worth, but it's still I equate to that. But like beyond that, yeah, they need an interior offensive lineman, right guard, in my opinion. And I think Spencer Fano would be a kick-ass right guard and have that opportunity to kick out to tackle for you. And so I really like that. So I landed on Spencer Fano here.
That same line of thing is going to come up later when Fano eventually comes off my board for me, but you'll have to wait for that for a little bit now. I went Mekhi Lemon here with this pick. Kind of pair him up with Zay Flowers. It's a bit redundant, but I do think that Lemon can bring you a little bit different. They can both be kind of slot Z type players.
Flowers is really little though, isn't he?
He's like 5'9".
Yeah, I was like, he is like super small.
Lemon is more, he's like 5'11", 180, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's about where he's at. So you got a guy he's more the Z, Flowers can be the slot, and you have Bateman at the X. I think that's going to be your best opportunity, especially for a team that's going to run a lot less 3 wide receiver sets. It's not going to be as big of an issue for me, I think.
Yeah, no. Ooh, dude, Mekhi Lemon, 194 at the combine.
Ooh.
That's
that. Nice. That's spicy.
Take that.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Who'd you have for the Rams?
This is Omar Cooper Jr.'s spot. This is my favorite landing spot for him to land with the Rams. As that slot guy, like I don't think he's a slot-only receiver, but if you have the opportunity to have him transition, going from playing a ton of slot in college to playing a ton of slot in the NFL, it's less of a barrier to kind of jump there, and then eventually be the successor for Devontae Adams. I think that would be electric. That would be the move to push them all in for that Super Bowl. For me.
What is Adams' contract? Is he done after this year? Was it a 3-year? I can't remember.
That's a great question.
I mean, I'm assuming if their success continues that he'd want that. But like while you guys are checking that out, I went with Mansour Delane here. I don't think the McDuffie trade changes like a whole lot in terms of the Rams that like they still need cornerback help. I get the look at wide receiver with Adams, and then obviously you have Puka, but then you have kind of some question marks. And with that, I can see wide receiver, but Mansour Delane's still on my board here. Jim has preached it a million times. Like, why did you lose? That's what you need to address. Cornerback for the Rams. Once again, they've addressed it with McDuffie. I still think they stand to improve that cornerback room. And if Mansour Delane's here at pick 13, I'm going to snag him for the Rams.
And point of clarification, Adams' contract is up at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So he's on a 2-year then. Okay. All right. And then so now we're going to get to pick 12, and this is where Jeremiah Love was snagged by the Cowboys. And I think I've done this a couple times where people have asked me, like, hey, they just signed, was it Javonte Williams or?
Yeah, they extended him.
Yeah, they extended him. And in no world does the extension of Williams preclude me from taking one of the best running backs that I've seen over the last 5 years, including Ashton Genty, including Bijan Robinson. This dude is a freak. And the fact that he's here at 12, I'm not going to pass on him because I think it makes – and once again, I think the Cowboys offense is fairly solid between their wide receiver duo, whatever you want to say about Dak Prescott. They have their franchise quarterback for better or worse. Ferguson, you have an offensive line that you've kind of been working on over the last couple of years. You add a phenomenal running back to that room, a top 10 running back to that room, and that is going to be electric. The defense, it's got some issues, and I'm kind of kicking the can down. If they didn't have a second first-round pick, this pick would look different. I can guarantee that this pick would have looked different if they didn't have Green Bay's pick. But the fact that they do makes this a little bit more of a luxury.
Hey, for the Dallas Cowboys, sending Williams and then still taking Jeremiah Love, don't let your girlfriend keep you from finding your wife. And I can say that because I know my wife doesn't watch this podcast.
Don't let your girlfriend keep you from finding your wife.
But
it's awesome.
I didn't go that pick.
Obviously, because you hate Jeremiah Love.
You're right. I hate him so much, and that's why I went with T.J. Parker here. The edge from Clemson, another guy who I think can fit in any kind of system. I was it was between Bailey and Parker, and I went with Parker over Bailey, just because I think they have a Donovan Izraku, kind of this lightweight edge rusher, off the ball kind of guy. I felt they needed a bit more of a heavy-handed.
Well, let's not forget about Rashawn Gary, worth a 4th-round trade pick apparently. Rashawn Gary.
TJ Parker was just too good of a player to pass up here, and especially for a defense that needs that bump. So they ended up walking out of this with TJ Parker and Dylan Thieneman. So maybe there's some fixes for you right there.
That's solid.
Nice.
Who'd you have for Dolphins?
Dolphins. Well, we went with Chris Johnson earlier, so we went with their second need. It's a player that's up my board. We had a bit of a debate for, and it's Carnell Tate, the wide receiver from Ohio State.
Oh shit! Actually, you know what I just realized? You already drafted Mekhi Lemon, didn't you?
I did. He went to the
shit! I just realized that. Damn it!
I mean, listen, we have a ton of small guys. Still,
hey, you took Carnell Tate ahead of Mekhi Lemon. We're good. We're good.
I did.
I'm fine.
The fit there, I think, for me with Tate, they have a bunch of guys that I can't remember what the list was, but like Tutu Atwell is like their number one guy right now, slated in. I don't need another smaller guy to kind of fit into a bunch of rooms of smaller
Malik
guys.
Washington's slander is hurting my dynasty team's reputation.
Yeah, Jim, Malik Washington is hurting your dynasty team reputation.
But let's give Malik Willis an opportunity to have somebody to throw the ball to that's taller than 6 foot, that is actually going to see the field. So we're gonna play with Carnell Tate here.
Malik
So-
to Maliki. I'm going to rename my team.
Exactly. So I went with Makai Lemon here, and this was kind of I talked about it already a little bit with the Browns, where with with Omar Cooper Jr., you have a guy that, like, with him, I don't think he's like this elite separator, but what he can do with the ball in his hands is phenomenal. I think when you get Makai Lemon, he is just a phenomenal separator, and he provides a lot of opportunities underneath, and he also provides just, man, that big play aspect to him when he shouldn't at sub 6 feet tall. Like, you should be able to throw the ball down the sideline to him like they have done for the last 2 years at USC and have him come down with it. But he does it. And so for me, I ran into the fact that I look at Makai Lemon. He is a player on my board that it's right around here. He's number 12 over on my board, and I picked him at 11. And for me, I really liked kind of where he fit in there. Inside-outside versatility. And I think that he was a good pick. And once again, I didn't have Carnell Tate on the board at this spot because I respect Carnell Tate as a
He's
wide
number
receiver.
11 overall. I had him as wide receiver 4, and he's number 2 off the board.
That's fair.
You two are like hitting this out of the park. This is just really good. I love it.
All right, who are you making Dale happy with here?
Ooh. I think I'm going to piss off Dale. I don't want to.
I know. I'm going to make Dale real happy.
So one of you picked Peter Woods to the Bengals at 10, right?
I did not.
I did.
Okay.
To be fair, if Peter Woods was here, I would have picked him. But he's not here.
You know what?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I respect it because I wish I would have taken him higher.
Yep. So this is like I literally got here and I was like, shit. This is always my Peter Woods pick and he's not here. Damn it. This is where CC Maui Noah went for me. And it's kind of a similar conversation where do you love Orlando Brown and Amarius Mims as your tackles? Okay, sure. Whatever fantasy world you want to live in, go ahead and keep living in that. You can easily kick CC inside to guard. I think he's got that play to him. I think he's a tackle. I love the fact that CC measured in at, what was it? I got to pull it up so I just piss everyone off. 33.25-inch arms. He hit the threshold. He plays so well. His hand technique is phenomenal. Great size to him, 6'5.5", 329 pounds. I love every part of his game. He's my number 2 overall offensive lineman and a guy that I think just absolutely is going to be someone that you're going to covet. When you take a look at him here at number 10, yes, I wish that there was a defensive tackle that I would have really liked to take here. I wasn't going to reach on Caleb Banks here, though I did think about it just to piss off Ryan Sparks. I thought that would have been hilarious. But Maui Noah was here, so I went with Maui Noah.
So how close was Falk under consideration for you guys at 12?
If Parker wasn't available, I would have taken him.
I guess with Stewart last year, with Miles Murphy, and with the signing of Boye Mafe, I wasn't like, oh yeah, this is going to be an edge spot. I think I really wanted to go interior or offensive line. I want to hit the trenches no matter what, but I don't think edge was a huge press for me.
Well,
I was meaning for Dallas. That was for a question about Dallas.
Oh, for Dallas. I'm sorry, I didn't read the comment. I'm an idiot.
Who
I wouldn't go that far.
20?
At 20?
Yeah.
I picked Avion Terrell.
No, yeah.
If I was picking anyone, it would have been a cornerback. It would have been Mansour Delane. If I was picking for Dallas, at pick 12, I wasn't. I'm not as like dire as an edge rusher. I think as Owen is for Dallas, and I'm not saying that Owen thinks he's dire, but I don't know.
Yep. I think
Yeah,
safety and linebacker tend to be the favorite picks for Cowboys if there's a linebacker you like available at those spots. Like Greg Recker would love Styles and Thieneman. That's his perfect draft. But the likelihood that Styles is going to get to 12 is low. And I actually think the probability Thieneman gets to 20 is also low. So
he made it 20 for me, and I don't think he's even in Newt's mock.
He's not.
There it is.
I'm low on Thieneman, though, admittedly.
Yeah, I went with Woods here. He's just an elite player for me. I think
It's
you need
so
him on defense.
easy.
You
Yeah.
put him on defense. I argue to say you don't miss Trey Hendrickson if you make that move.
Ooh.
That's my take of this.
I like that.
So, and for the Chiefs at 9, who did you have?
I just had to twist a knife in my heart, and I went with Caleb Downs. Like, just an elite player available for the Chiefs. They'll take him, figure it out.
Is this our third match, Newt?
No, it's not, because how does Caleb Downs last till pick 9?
He's a safety, Newt, with a degenerative knee issue.
That's some bullshit. Oh my God. Whatever. All right. Yeah, I mean, if you're getting Caleb Downs at pick 9, yeah, consider yourself the luckiest team in the draft, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm actually fun fact. I really like what they got. Alohi Gilman. They've got my boy Jaden Hicks, who I really like. Jaden Hicks. I think he's
neither of those people prevent me from drafting Caleb Downs.
Well, yeah.
Respect.
Once again, if Caleb Downs is there, yes. But how is Caleb Downs there?
Hey, don't let your girlfriend keep you from finding your wife.
That's true. Like that's fair. If Caleb Downs is there, I'll give you that. Like I'm still gonna run that.
So, Newt, who was your pick for the Chiefs?
Jeremiah McCoy.
He's gone already.
Not for me. He's not.
I'm talking for mine. I don't know why you were so mad.
I'm not. I don't hate Jeremiah McCoy like you do.
He hasn't. Oh, whatever. I let Lone fall because I haven't watched him this summer from my own laziness. I haven't watched McCoy because he hasn't put tape out.
You don't have to watch McCoy. Just watch 2024. That's all you need to see.
He was elite in 2024.
He was so good in 2024.
So good.
And it's a betting game, and you know it comes down to that. So like, hey, if McCoy can't come back from that injury, that doesn't look good. I think he's gonna be fine. I think that what you saw in 2024 was so damn good that I am not. I don't even want to argue with Brian. That's why.
No, you see.
How about you come on the show more often?
No. Oh, and you know what it is? The Bills bring out the best in Newt, and Cheesehead, like being a Cheesehead, is just like keeping him down. He's just got to come over to our side. Yeah.
You're talking
He's
to a
just
guy
got to
that's
come over to our side.
You're talking to a guy that's writing for Cheesehead TV Draft Guide.
Whoa.
That's what I mean.
Whoa.
So
that's my alter ego.
The Bills fans are bringing out the best in you.
Oh my God.
You just have to become a Bills fan.
You want Packers coverage? Go to the Bills fans.
Oh.
Who's your pick for the Saints? I think there's a right option here if he's available.
Did we do it? Did we do it again?
Did we?
I bet it's Sonny Styles.
I picked Sonny Styles.
No. I wouldn't
you already picked Sonny Styles? I love that.
No, I haven't picked Sonny Styles yet.
No, I know. I'm saying like you in your mock you have already picked Sonny Styles.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I respect.
There's a team he doesn't get past in my eyes.
All right, I picked Sonny Styles. I don't think I need to talk too much about this. Sonny Styles is a dude, former safety that converted to linebacker. That just he does everything right. The athleticism, the size. The way that he attacks the position. I honestly, my biggest critique of Sonny Styles is that I don't love his coverage. And as a former safety, it drives me nuts. But, like, he's still, and I think it's because I expect him to be that good in coverage. And he's just, like, good to, like, really good. But he's not, like, elite. And I kind of expect that out of him. He is absolutely phenomenal as a middle of your defense. I'm going to do it all and really just kind of be a tone setter type player. The athleticism is absolutely incredible. Obviously, with the way that he tested the combine, I love Sonny Styles. So him here at 8 for the Saints, this was a guy that I was like, all right, the Saints just need to draft good football players. They've made so many mistakes over the last couple of years in terms of like trying to get guys to kick the can down the road. Just grab a good football player.
That's my logic
and
for Bain. Ruben Bain here, edge. You lose Cameron Jordan, you get a guy who is prime Cameron Jordan. Like you get a dude who's
if Bain's here, I agree with that. I can't hate on that.
Yeah, I just went with. I don't know how he got here. I think I have some interesting.
Because
picks.
you hate him?
No, I think there are like of the guys remaining. I think only 3 of them you haven't mentioned yet. Haven't mentioned yet.
There's only 2.
Yep. Well, I'm noticing like because one of you has talked about Freeling, one of you hasn't.
Correct. There's only 2 guys. There's only 2 guys that we have both not mentioned yet.
Right.
Yep.
And one of them we will both mention at the same spot.
Right.
Yep. So, Owen, who did you have at 7 to the Commanders?
This is the Jordan Tyson spot for me.
Okay.
Get my number 1 wide receiver significantly above everyone else's number 1 receiver. Hopefully the injuries work out, but get a guy that complements Terry McLaurin and just add wet firepower around Jaden Daniels. This would have been it was either between Ruben Bain. It was between Ruben Bain and Jordan Tyson here for me. So I went with Tyson here. Ruben Bain doesn't get past the next guy.
Carnell Tate was my pick here. So same mindset. And even Scary Terry. Like I didn't even realize he coming up on 30 years old?
He is 30, I think.
Yeah, it's just like all right. Well, between the fact that you have like your number 2 or 3 wide receivers, Luke McCaffrey. Like no disrespect to Luke McCaffrey, but I don't love that. And so
taking anybody
exactly, and so I went with my number 1. So same vein. Once again, not the same player, but the same vein. Where we've had a lot of these picks. I'm going wide receiver here. Who's Owen?
Number 6, Monroe Freeling.
God damn it, Jim. I was going to try to set it up, but yes, it is Monroe Freeling.
It's like the worst kept surprise. This is like Joe Alt to the Titans.
I was trying to figure out if Owen would figure out between him and another player who was going to go here. But it makes too much sense. And I think I know who Owen's going to pick for this spot. Monroe Freeling. Who?
Who's the other player?
You're going to find out at some
I'm
point.
A little lost.
You're going to find out.
I thought I had you in a blender.
Monroe Freeling is my offensive tackle 1. I got to him late because he was a late declare. I saw him on film and the way that he plays, the quickness of him in order to get out in space, the anchor that he has, the technique, all of those pieces. He's a 1-year starter. I'm not worried about that in the slightest. He looked absolutely phenomenal. And so that was a very clear cut. Oh, Browns need a offensive lineman here. They need a tackle, really, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and let's take Monroe Freeling right here. So I went with Freeling.
I agree, which is why I went with the better offensive tackle and Francis Mauigoa.
Better.
But even if you have guys who are at tackle that you would maybe hope could start there, and if they end up performing, you can move them at guard, and if not, whoever is your best performing tackle is playing a tackle, and whoever isn't is playing a guard. And Mauigoa fits that mold pretty well.
Have you said Spencer Fano yet? Oh my God! I just realized that.
Okay.
Love it.
I told you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I was trying to figure out there were a couple of names that I couldn't figure out that one of you like hadn't said yet. We're definitely.
Oh
cooking.
no! There he goes. What a bum.
So, who did you have going at 5 to the Giants?
This is where, and I'm so sad that he went this late, and I'm so sad that Owen's not here for this. Caleb Downs went to the Giants. When you take a look at their safety room, they have kind of a hodgepodge of like draft picks that haven't worked out the greatest. And I was a huge Tyler Nubin fan, and that hurts me to say. But between like draft picks and free agent signings, I don't think they have like a clear cut, like dominant safety role. And in my opinion, Caleb Downs is the number one overall prospect in this year's draft class. I absolutely love Caleb Downs for the New York Giants because he is that good of a player. And I think that you can't pass on someone that's that good when you have that position as a need on your team. So Caleb Downs went here 5 for me for the Giants.
Oh,
You're muted or you're not muted or your audio doesn't work.
So while Owen's trying to figure out his audio,
Am I back?
take a guess at. Yes, you're back. So did you have Fano going at 5 to the Giants?
No, I have a different Ohio State Buckeye with Sonny Styles going here to the Giants.
Oh, okay.
Moving on from Okereke, and I think Mike McFadden's back on a cheap deal. Nothing prevents me from taking Sonny Styles here, the first Ohio State Buckeye off the board. Put that in print in writing. I'll put money on that he's the first Buckeye off the board.
Whoa. Actually,
I would put money on that. I'd put
Sonny
I'd put
Styles, first Buckeye.
First Buckeye, Sonny Styles.
I get the field?
You get the field.
All right. We'll discuss this on the after show.
Well, I'm checking the Giants free agent tracker because I thought they signed a couple
They
of
brought back
linebackers.
Mike McFadden. I know that.
I mean, since Owen hates Caleb Downs, and like if Sonny Styles is there, I don't blame him with that. But
They have it on our lads as Tremaine Edmonds as the Mike, Darius
There we go.
Muasau as the Will.
how
and
old
Sam
is
Ham
Tremaine Edmonds at this point?
He's only like 24.
Probably still 25.
He was what, like
19
when he was drafted new.
Oh shit! All right.
He's 27.
Okay, well, I don't feel as bad about being that exaggerated. But he's gone through a full contract with the Bears at this point. And yes, if he was 19 when he was drafted, that makes sense. But still,
He went through a rookie contract with the Bills and then a full free agency contract with the Bears. All right, number 4. I don't know why you hate Mansour Delane, dude. This is my pick to number 4 for the Titans.
shit. Damn.
Corner. I love Mansour Delane. I didn't think I was going to love him as much as I did. I had him as like a 3rd rounder coming out of the summer. Just watching the Virginia Tech tape, and then he just took his game to another level at LSU. Just
really
big, physical, sticking coverage.
So physical.
Love it. And he run defends the run, which is always something I'm always curious about. Like Takario Davis as the number 1 corner struggles to defend the run, but like he's never really like challenges with it. He Delane seeks it out, and he's a turnover making machine. Like that. Like if you have a good corner, you take him. This is don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Did Jeremiah Love even enter your discussion here?
No.
It
What
did
this
for
is
half a second, but
this is
like,
the
for that
Ashton
logic,
Genty conversation all over again.
they're better off than the Raiders were last year. They're my sneaky pick for last the first in a division this year.
Oh yeah, I'm making that pick. I'm smashing that one.
I love the Titans move this offseason.
I had the Titans as a playoff team in May. Like I'm looking a little silly for that one now, but
I had the Colts in that same conversation. I had the Colts, and they
yes, you
almost
did.
it.
Yes, you did. Yes.
I would
Yes.
I would put I don't know. This is like we're getting off topic.
That's a whole podcast.
That is.
We're having fun. We're not off topic. We're having fun.
Yeah, this
I'm
is true.
completely cool with that.
I wouldn't go Jeremiah Love. I'm just gonna put that one out there. I was down on Ashton Genty. I'm
Nope.
like love both
None of the
players.
Titans draft professors want Love here. Even though that's what it seems like the national media, that's like the agenda that they're pushing. It's either Love at 4 or 5.
That's because the
but-
national media loves running backs to go high, but doesn't want them to get paid.
Well, yeah, and the national media, like I think a couple people are doing a good job of pointing out how was it like Dan Orlovsky uses the same PR agency as Ty Simpson.
That makes
you
a lot
guys-
of sense.
Did you see that?
I
like,
did not know.
Yes.
Oh, it's actually on Hail Mary's feed, Newt. I actually saw
Oh,
that
I gotta
it
check
was
that out now.
Alex was the one that was quote tweeting a different draft professor because it was
That's
PW
awesome.
McConnell that posted it, and then Alex
Ty Simpson
retweeted
has
it.
just as good a film as Fernando Mendoza, according to Dan Orlowski.
Okay,
Who you got for 3? Newton.
Cardinals. Owen.
Three.
Oh, it's me?
I haven't talked
Yeah.
about.
Oh,
Oh, you. Oh no, you're
I haven't
right.
talked
You're
about
at 4.
Tennessee pick. What are
Yeah,
we doing
sorry.
here?
Who do you hate?
Who do I hate?
Yeah.
Who do I hate for Tennessee?
Yeah.
Ruben Bain Jr.
All right.
That's who I hate.
After trading for Jermaine Johnson, that's where you went with that.
No.
okay.
You, as the Titans, you have one job, and that is to have your defense help out your quarterback and limit anything that you can get to drive down the scores of those games. Cam Ward needs to have a situation where he's in where it's not like, hey, I need you to go out and throw the ball 50 times a game. They need to have a situation where they can put themselves where they have a defense that is imposing enough to bring guys to a subtle, a somewhat 50-50 scheme. Ruben Bain Jr. is a dude in that situation. And so when I look at Ruben Bain Jr., he is, once again, I'm looking at my big board and I'm looking at how I would draft him. He's number 4 on my big board. I'm drafting him number 4. Weird how that works out. I love the guy. I think that the entire playoff and national championship run just solidified everything that he is as a pass rusher. I'm all in on Ruben Bain Jr. here.
So I haven't figured out who Newt has going to the Cardinals, but I know who Owen has going to the Cardinals.
You do.
Yeah. So I think you both have
I know.
Arvell Reese at 2,
Bro, I know.
and you both have Mendoza at 1. Owen hasn't mentioned Spencer Fano yet, so I'm
Yeah,
assuming
that's
that's
it.
the pick at 3.
It's Spencer Fano, bro.
Yeah, it is. Spencer
And then-
Fano, bro.
And then Newt, who did you have going at 3 to the Cardinals?
Who haven't I not
Woods.
mentioned yet? Peter Woods. I've got Peter
Okay.
Woods going number
Attention.
3 overall, baby. You want to talk about Fano first?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole conversation with Fano when it comes to center, guard, tackle. Where is he gonna fit? Cardinals can take him and say yes, please, somewhere.
Anywhere.
God help, please. I was checking their PFF grades, and they're all I think their center was the 14th rated center, maybe. I'm pretty sure, with a 69.5 grade. Everything else is 50s and 70s.
Even Paris Johnson Jr.
I didn't check Paris. I
Okay.
assumed he was a stud.
Okay.
But that's their left tackle, right? So now
Yeah.
you need Fano, who played right tackle in college. Cool, fit there. Right guard, left guard. If you want to kick him inside, what's wrong with pinning him there? Center, sure, whatever. Find somewhere and stick. I know they brought in Isaac Suomelo from the Steelers for left guard, but can you tell me who their starting center to right tackle is right now, off the top of your head, Newt?
No, absolutely not.
I had no idea who these guys even are. It's Hjalte Froholt at center, Isaiah Adams at right guard, and then Elijah Wilkinson, who's a free agent pickup from Atlanta at right tackle. Where is Spencer Fano going to start? If they could clone him and start him in all 3 spots, they would.
Yeah.
So why
that's
Fano
that thing.
over Maui Noah there, Owen?
The center flexibility. First off, I Fano graded higher than Maui Noah, and the center flexibility idea. If you picked up Wilkinson as your right tackle, and I guess for the same logic, Maui Noah could have fit because then he could play right guard. But I like Fano better, and I also think he could play center. So that's adding even more positional versatility for me.
Okay. Newt, you want to talk about your guy at 3 there for a minute?
I mean, one of the biggest things. So this team has been addressing their defensive backfield a good amount over the last couple of years. When you take a look at the free agent signings they've had, when you take a look at the draft picks that they've had, obviously they hit the slam dunk with Will Johnson last year, and I was one that was harping about that pick. Will Johnson should have gone so much earlier, looked like a stud, and kind of proved a lot of the guys wrong. And they've done a lot of good things to kind of put a good foundation around there. one of the biggest things that they need to address still is the defensive line. They have, and I should pull it up. Owen does a really good job of like quoting this. Oh, is it Mowgli? Is it Mowgli?
Yeah, he's disagreeing with my mock. Whose side are you on?
Mowgli's my guy. That's why.
He was yelling about the Ruben Bain pick.
My man. So when you take a look at their interior for their offensive line, so they typically run odd man front. Darius Robinson, who was their first round pick a couple years back, like not a terrible player in that role. Walter Nolan last year, and so that kind of gives you like your 2 4-eye ends. They got Roy Lopez slated right now to be their nose tackle, and then they got.
Don't you disrespect Roy Lopez? He is a stud at nose tackle.
He's not preventing from taking Peter Woods.
No, but you're not going to play Peter Woods at nose tackle.
I'll play Peter Woods at nose tackle. I don't give a shit.
Did you see what happened when he added weight? That's what happened this Clemson season was he tried to add weight to add that to his bag, and he fell off a cliff.
So what I think ends up happening is they end up playing a little bit more with new regime of a kind of modified 3-4 where they have both those guys set up as a 3-tech in this ideal world. Because once again, this is a situation where I think they need to address that position. I'm not going to grab Banks or Caden McDonald here, but I really want to address that position in order to improve that. I'm not sold on an offensive lineman this early. And kind of those are, like, I agree with you, Owen. Like, offensive line is probably the biggest need. I was not sold on a guy this early. I'm sold on Peter Woods this early, though.
That's fair. I mean, Woods is my 6 overall player. Fano's 3.
Yeah, I mean, and that makes sense.
So this is a great exercise. So first of all, by going backwards, I think it's way more entertaining.
I agree.
Right? Because nearly everybody is the same, like up at the top. But what was cool, like for me, is I'm sitting here like learning where some guys are on your boards. So Peter Woods going at third overall, like that's a flag plant in this draft cycle, Newt. Like I am really curious to see because there are so many people that seem to be like we did a mock on a Friday, and I got Peter Woods at Buffalo's pick.
I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it in so many simulators. So put it this way, once again, I think that the Cardinals pick has to be in the trenches. With that, Peter Woods is number 7 on my board. I've already talked, like, my highest graded interior player is Vega at 20, and my highest grade tackle is Freeling at 9. And so, like, I'm looking at that, Freeling plays left tackle. I got Paris Johnson Jr., and then I got CeCe Maino at 11, who, like, obviously has some of the inside-outside. But, like, once again, I'm already stepping past Peter Woods, who I think can just be a massive addition to your defensive line.
And then it's Arvell Reese at 2 for both of you. Fernando Mendoza at 1 for both of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct. So you guys matched, did I count 5 out of 32?
Was it 5?
It's Mendoza, Reese,
Sadiq, Bailey. That's it.
Those 4.
Yeah, 4.
Broke
That's
the 2.5
good.
mark.
Yep.
I'll take
That was pretty good.
If we did this again, what do you set the line at, Jimmy? Staying at 2.5?
Let's still stay at 2.5.
Yeah.
This is hard, like to match picks, right? Because that would imply that you have the players. Like the reason why you match Sadiq and Bailey is that your grades on them match, right? The likelihood that 2 podcasters would have players like at that exact spot, right? Like that. I don't want to say weird. Yeah, I would just say the likelihood based upon the random evaluation. It's not random evaluation. The likelihood based upon your scoring and ranking systems matching players, the probability of that is really low.
What can I say? Unfortunately, we start to see guys the same.
Unfortunately, we do this. It only took us 2 years of doing this.
So PW, you missed it because we were mentioning about your he was the person who Alex from Hail Mary quote tweeted about Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Yep. So we shouted you out probably about 15 minutes ago.
I think his take here is accurate too. I mean, I feel like that's where I'm at with David Bailey and why he's at 15 for me as opposed to 2. In what world do you take David Bailey over Arvell Reese? Like, what is the sales pitch there?
Arvell Reese is a middle linebacker.
No, I think it's Bailey's role immediately coming in. That's what that's the argument that I've heard.
That's fair.
If you don't know Reese's position and you're not sure.
If you can't find a spot for Reese to play for you out the gate, you shouldn't be a defensive coordinator in the NFL.
Yeah, I think there's a difference. I've said this so many times. There's a difference between a versatile player versus a homeless player. Like, yes, there are guys that are they struggle to kind of like find that in between, and I don't think he will be, but like it is a little bit of my fear with like Harold Perkins Jr. where like I think at some point like there might be a situation where he ends up as a homeless player because like he's not quite apt for the slot, he's not able to play linebacker. I think he will be, and me and Owen have talked about it. I think he's going to be, effectively able to slide into like a 3-3 style offense where he's able to excel. But I think with Arvell Reese, like you can play him at edge and he's going to exceed. You can play him at middle linebacker, he's going to exceed. You can play him at outside linebacker, he's going to exceed. Like he is that good of a football player.
Jayshon Barham, homeless or versatile?
Versatile. I like Jayshon Barham a lot. I think that he's another guy.
Trey Moore, homeless or versatile?
Don't make me say it on air. I
have Trey Moore as like a round 4 player. So
I think Trey Moore is a little homeless. I think he's stuck. I think he's stuck between positions. Truthfully, I did not have to write him up for the Cheesehead TV draft guide, and I'm very glad because I don't know where he would have landed in my rankings.
New just doesn't like good football players, I guess.
I don't. I hate them. I think that they are awful. I like scrubs.
Yep. Well, Newt, do you want to tell everybody about your Cheesehead TV scrubs? I mean, draft guide.
Absolutely.
Hey, everything but the IOLs.
Yeah, the IOLs are amazing. Everything else in there sucks. No. So Newt Weston, you guys can find me at NFL Draft _Weston on the app formerly known as Twitter. I podcast with Cheesehead TV for Packer-centric content, and with that, I'm also writing for the Cheesehead TV Draft Guide for their defensive tackle and defensive end position, as well as Owen is. And so with that comes out on April 2nd. If anyone is interested, you could access that for a digital copy. Then I also run ZeroTechDraft.com and have finally put up my first big board of the season. I'll be getting this mock draft out there, which I have up on Cheesehead TV, and you saw here, and you can see written out on my website. I think that's everything. Owen, what do you got?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter because I refuse to call it the platform previously called Twitter. It is always and forever will be Twitter. At Weekly Huddle, where you can find a bunch of my takes. I will post the mock draft I did on the Draft Professor up on there after this. And when you are looking for any content, maybe I'll go over my own mock on my YouTube channel. But I did hint earlier that I'm doing some top 10 videos now. And that's going to be getting recorded in the next coming days. So keep an eye out for that, as well as I did write the interior offensive line section of Cheesehead TV Draft Guide. So if you want to support, again, dropping on 4 Deuce. It's going to be April 2nd. That's when you can get your hands on that. So that, and also I'm here every Tuesday, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. On Tuesdays, not as much fire because I have to deal with more people like Randall in for build offensive lineman Jerry Ostrowski, whereas now I can just build that all up and just dump it on Newt's desk on Wednesday nights.
Love it.
So, I'm calling it Xwitter. It's good compromise. Like Elon did this to himself, really.
Yeah.
So first, I want to emphasize, like, it takes a lot to make me look good, right? And you two did that today because I said, hey, like I said, let's cancel whatever the podcast topic was and let's do a round one in reverse order. You guys kicked ass. Like, this is the second time Draft Professor had tried this format. And like when it worked the first time, I'm like, oh, Owen and Newt are gonna love this. It was a longer show, but like it worked the way that I had seen in my head. Like you guys commenting on each other's picks. Why do you hate this player, etc. Like
couple of windbags.
this was really good. So, and so PW McConnell, thank you. And PW McConnell will be drafting for the Commanders in Epic Mock 26, which is April 9th, 10th, and 11th. So that is a 32 podcaster mock draft. You will see Owen podcasting with Jerry Ostrowski. You will see Owen podcasting with Randall Slifer leading up the Bills War Room. And then you'll see PW McConnell doing the Commanders War Room. And we'll have 32 podcasters all over the world mock drafting against each other for 7 rounds over 3 days. And then Sunday, after Epic Mock ends, we have a UDFA podcast Sunday night. They will only talk about the players that we did not draft in Epic Mock 26. So
I will be in that chat. That's going to be awesome.
That's going to be one of the best podcasts of the year.
Agreed.
I am so confident of that. So with that being said, for Newt, Owen, myself, and the 85 podcasters at the Draft Professor, thank you so much for watching. We will see you on a podcast again tomorrow. Thank you.